Final hour OverDrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, Frankie Corrado, TSN 1050. The TSN app, your home smart speaker, now up on TSN 2. Our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Looks like Jalen Hurts is going to play tonight, and it looks like Geno Smith will not. So Jalen Hurts is going to try to have his flu game tonight, I guess, and the line is moving towards the Eagles for obvious reasons, which means Timo and Wilson probably got a bit of a layup earlier today.
Right.
Right, because they're on the Eagles, and the line has shifted towards the Eagles since they made that pick. Fraudulent, but
they've been
fine.
complaining. Like, Luke was in here complaining about you getting preferential treatment. And
bogus, man. All they do is complain and make up accusations.
I see you and Doogie, though, like chewing the fat a little bit before the show. You guys have a little bit of a tighter bond now. It's almost like a mentorship program kind of thing, and
Doogie's my guy.
I could see Doogie pulling for you.
Doogie's my guy, but he's very objective. He's a man of integrity, and he wouldn't dare put his reputation on the line with any funny business. It won't happen. So we'll get to our best bets a little bit later in the hour, and again, look ahead to the Leaf game tomorrow. The Raptors are in action tonight, but the big news of the day came out of Ottawa. I guess technically came out of Arizona. Right, because Ottawa was in Vegas last night. They lost again. They've lost 4 in a row, 3 straight on this road trip. DJ Smith was fired earlier this morning, and Jacques Martin is taking over behind the bench. And Martin obviously had a really good career, really good run in Ottawa years ago, but it's been a long time. Not a young guy, 71 years old. But he took over today, and everyone's focused on what's going on in Arizona. Right, all the media and all the team flying from Vegas to Arizona. And I'm sure when the team got to Arizona, they jumped on a team bus, went to the hotel.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of normal people jumped in an Uber or a cab or maybe took public transportation. But Jamie Noodles McLennan is not normal.
No.
Because he jumped in a driverless Uber. I believe it was, did you say it was a Jaguar, Doogie? Play that, Joe.
It looked like
Joe from the
Jaguar.
Bridge will play this up on TSN 2. Where Noodles sent us video
driving
earlier
in
today.
Arizona.
This is lunacy.
My driver's
This
a
is
little
what's
thin.
happening down in Arizona.
Yeah.
Like, I personally could never get into a car
breakfast
without
this morning. How
someone
are you doing,
driving
sir?
it. Like, I'm sorry. I can't believe that Noodles would do this, but he
Maneuver.
did.
I find it weird that the driver's
Nobody
seat
here
has
and
a
nobody
seatbelt
driving.
buckled
There you
up
go.
for the invisible driver
It's
that's
even
not
scarier.
there.
Yeah, it's even scarier.
Why is that seatbelt done
Highway.
up?
All right, let's bring him in here.
get to
Jamie
my
Noodles McLennan. Noodles, explain yourself, please.
It's changed.
I don't know. I was like, you press the Uber button and you're looking at all the times, and one of them comes up and it's like, it's 7 minutes away. Do you want the autonomous vehicle? And I'm like, at first I was like, okay, let's grab the quickest one, and it was that one. Mm-hmm. And then I'm thinking, autonomous, is that the one that drives by itself? I'm like, I'll give it a run. It's not that far. But as it pulled up, it kind of scared the hell out of me because it drove into the parking lot a little aggressive. And I was like, I often wonder, I'm thinking, is there somebody that is in like a basement or whatever that like driving this remotely, like as a remote car? Because it kind of like swerved right in front of me and then just stopped. And then you got to go on the app and it says press twice to open the door. The door pops open.
Wow.
I pop in the back and then it gives you like a speech, like close the door, put your seatbelt on. If you want to sing, you are on camera, but you are not mic'd. So you can talk or whatever. So it started and it just took off. Like once I was seatbelted in, it just took off and away to the hotel it went.
Wow.
It was very weird. And all I could think about is, first and foremost, I don't know if this will be the last time I do it. I actually feel like it was pretty safe because the guy, I was going to say the guy. There was no guy.
There's no one there.
Nothing. The vehicle just drove and it stopped. And what's weird is we get to a light and there's like a green exchange. So you can turn left, but everyone else has to just stop at the red light. And it just sat there. Like it knew exactly what was going on. Wow. It was really freaky. I FaceTimed Steph and the kids just in case something went south.
Yeah.
But I was like, give it a run. And then I was like, I should film this because nobody's going to believe it.
I can't believe it.
It was weird.
Did you get any looks? Like, did you pull up at a red light, take a look to your right or left, see another car, and then they're looking over at you, and they're like, there's no one driving that thing, and there's a gentleman sitting in the back?
I think it's accepted. So the car, as it pulls up, I didn't take a picture of the outside. I should have. But it's got like this, you ever seen those Google camera cars that have the thing on the top where it looks, well, this has like a giant satellite dish on top, like a big ball. And there's cameras and kind of mirrors all around it. So it's like a giant bumper car. I don't know. It was weird, but I just jumped in and away it went. And it was really neat. I mean, I don't know if I want to make a habit of it. I certainly put it this way. They are not coming to Toronto anytime soon. Can you imagine on the 401?
Oh, it'd be hysterical, man. Like, they might actually be here. We don't even know it. That would explain a lot. But what would be hilarious if there was a guy in the trunk that was doing it the whole time? And it's like a spare tire in case the system goes down. He just gets out. He's like, all right, I'm driving now.
It was fraudulent. That's what it was, but it was pretty cool. What
a scene. But you're right. It's got to be warm temperature. The roads have to be great. Like, can it honk its horn? Like, if someone cuts it off, can you command it to lay on the horn? That would be hilarious, too.
I wish I could do some. The one thing, as we kind of pulled out, there was a car that kind of turned left in front of it and kind of got close to it, and it adjusted. It just, like, moved around. Like, he was about to drive, or it was about to drive, and it turned left. The car turned left in front of us, and he adjusted. And it was just a weird Incredible. Scenario. But nothing short. Put it this way. My day has been very weird right from the get-go, getting on the flight, delayed, all of that fun stuff. And then on the flight, I find out the news as you guys, will be talking about it. Man, you could see it coming, but it just, it was like a slow bleed out, this trip. It's been a rough trip. Frankie, you and I were texting last night, and it's just watching them in losing 4 in a row. You could just see the mistakes, how fragile the team is. Reminds me a little bit, guys, of like Edmonton when they can't help themselves. When Edmonton was at the bottom there, they were shooting themselves in the foot, and that's what I've been seeing nightly.
Yeah, it's like you said, you kind of saw it coming. And I said last week when they went into St. Louis and lost, I'm like, that's not good for DJ Smith because the Blues got a new coach bump, like right in front of them, right in front of Staios. And you got the new owner down there in Anlauer. And, DJ's been a coach for a long time. He was a player. He's a really good guy, good to us, good to this show. But there is an element of mercy here where you just keep putting him out there onto the plank. It's not fair because it's not going to change. And I don't think he was helping himself either, Noodles, where, again, last night after the game, he's like, we got to play differently. I'm like, well, that's your job, man. Like that, you got to find a way to get them to play differently. And I'm just curious, like, is there a sense that they can turn this around? Like, are the playoffs still a part of the conversation around this team? Or is this just, hey, let's try to protect the guys we have here and get the young guys playing better for maybe a year or two down the road?
It might be a little bit of both, but like I read something today where their playoff chances were a couple of weeks ago was, 43% or something, and now they're down to 11. And you got to be realistic. Like we've talked about it a million times in our show. Like, who are they going to take out? Like if you look at it, they're going to have to climb the standings and go on some sort of like St. Louis march, like the Blues did when they won the Cup with Craig Berube. Like they're going to have to go on that type of march. I will say, like, I don't know when the move could have been done, should have been done, all of that. I know in hindsight, the one thing I do know is regardless of how they play tomorrow and then Thursday in Colorado, they have a game Saturday at home against Pittsburgh. And I just don't know if DJ Smith was still the coach at that time, how that, we talk about with Ron Willson and there was just I think it got to a point where you probably couldn't out of just respect for DJ, respect for the organization. And quite frankly, guys, the players have to play better. Like doing these games, they're in every game, not getting a save, not getting a big play at the right time. Like there's lots of things you could circle and go, okay, but I would say if you want just an encapsulation of how this team has been playing lately, go back and watch the 5th goal against last night in the game where it's in the neutral zone and 2 guys so Vegas has the puck and 2 guys from the Sens are in their defensive zone. They decide to change. They change. So now it's a 5-on-3 and then guys are racing from the bench because it's second period. It's a long change. And they get running around. Hamonic blocks a shot. He can't move. So now it's a 5-on-2. Stützle comes blowing through the middle off the bench. He's got an opportunity to get it out. He turns it over. It was like 7 or 8 errors before it finally went in the net. And you watch Chychrun just breaks his stick over the net. He's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like the body language, everything. Frankie, you watched it. It was just, I think at the end of the day, go ahead.
No, but sometimes you're sitting in the studio and we're obviously listening to the call and we're listening to what Jamie's saying, and like, just, it's another one where it's frustrating and you can see it's getting to them, and Hamonic swinging his stick and Chychrun swinging his stick. And there was a sequence earlier in the game, Jamie, where can't remember who the Sens player was, but he had about 5 feet to get to the red line before he dumped the puck in. He didn't do it. Yeah. They iced it. So then they got hemmed in the zone. Vegas gets a shot on net, but they're able to get the tired bodies off, but it's still in the offensive zone. Then I think it was McEwen takes a penalty. So then they go shorthanded, and then Waugh scores on the power play. It's like, those are the little things that the players need to understand. There's ebbs and flows to the game. Like, that's managing the game. Those players obviously haven't learned that under DJ Smith, but now I wonder, like, DJ Smith wasn't a rah-rah yelling and screaming guy. Jacques Martin is not that kind of guy. So what changes there as far as the demeanor and the outlook of the players? Are they going to take this to heart and say, like, we kind of cost this guy his job here? Not to mention, like you mentioned it, they can't get a save. Like, there was the Marchessault goal last night from, I don't know, what is that, 45 feet? And that's like, that can't go in. Yeah.
No. I look at it, and there's a lot of things. When you're watching teams that struggle, and I've now been on the road, see St. Louis, I've seen, watched Edmonton, I've watched these teams that have had coaching changes. It's whether it's the new coach bump or just a different voice. The players, once the coach gets fired, and I think we've all been in scenarios, Hayes, I don't know if you, in junior, a guy got fired on your watch or whatever, you take it to heart, because it is, you helped cause it. You helped contribute to it. And I know, just watching the body language, for example, from like the Oilers, like McDavid and those guys, they looked embarrassed. They looked embarrassed that Jay Woodcroft got the gate, because it was really direct correlation of how they played. I want to see the reaction of this group, because that's, we haven't heard from the players yet. We heard last night after the game. We haven't had the players speak out today, but this is where you got to look in the mirror and go, what could I have done differently? What can I do? And is there an opportunity to salvage the season, to make it close, to really push, to get to a level where there is consistency in your game? I think Jacques Martin brings that. I had him in Florida. He's a really good coach, very detailed. But I don't know, guys. I'll throw it back to you. What's the hammer today? It's ice time. That's it. The only thing is ice time. I don't know what else there is you can do to guys.
The other thing you could hang over someone is if they had a contract on the line. Yeah. But that's the problem with the way that this team is operating right now, is I have no doubt these players want to win, and that they are going to do everything they possibly can to try to get there. But they haven't proven they can, and yet they've all been paid. Like we were talking about it earlier, Noodles, where you look up front. I mean, you know this as well as anybody. They have fully committed to Tkachuk, Stützle, Norris, Batherson, the back end, Sanderson, Shabbat, Zub, and Korpisalo and net. That's 4 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goaltender. And even Chychrun's got 2 years left on his deal, where that's your team. And they're all locked up for at least 4 years. Some of them 7, 8, 9 years for Sanderson. He's got this year and 8 more. And it's like, so they're not playing for money. They're not playing for contracts. They're not playing for security. I don't. That makes it more difficult, in my opinion, because you've got a new owner here and a new man in charge in Steve Stais, who they didn't acquire any of these guys. They didn't draft them. They didn't develop them. They didn't sign them. It doesn't mean they don't like them. But you've walked in here. You've inherited a team that basically the previous administration said, this is our group for like 5 years, and we think they can win. Yeah. And they haven't won a thing. And this year it's as ugly as it's been. It's not a good spot.
You make a great point. The only thing that I would say is if they turn it around as far as the players individually, then some of them look like great deals. Like Stützle at 8, making $9 million, or making $8 million, getting 90 points type of thing. But you're right. They haven't accomplished anything as a team. I had a scout say something to me the other night, and I thought it was a great point. He said, this team's got a lot of great pieces. But he said, as a team, you can clearly tell they're not getting it done. Now, can those pieces come together and be the sum of a good team? Now, can Jacques Martin, can Alfie help that process? Can a jarring a coach being fired jar them into like, hey, this is some form of accountability? We forget sometimes, like some of these kids, like Sanderson's 21,
right?
Stutzler's
They're
21.
young.
Like
They're
these
very
kids,
young.
they got to learn though, and it's hard. These are hard lessons on the job. This is the first time, and I think we could all agree, this is the first time they've all had any expectations.
Yeah, first time.
And
it's the only time they've had pressure.
Right. Yeah. And that's why they need to try a new coach with these guys. Like a lot of them,
fair.
if not all of them, were here after DJ arrived. They don't know anything different.
It was never fair to expect that it was just going to be one coach and it was going to be smooth sailing. And Jamie, you're around the team, but everyone talks about stability within the organization, right? So the new ownership comes in. I'm sure the new ownership would love to have hired a general manager first, have that in place, and then hire a head coach and have everything aligned perfectly. But with the way things have gone, you kind of look at the star players and the way they've played and say, man, their game, like that's tailed off significantly. So then you start to think, like to Bryan's point, they've invested, even though it wasn't them, the organization has invested a lot in these guys. It's like, you kind of need to protect your asset from going too far downhill, so you make the goal, like the coaching change.
And here's the other thing too: the new ownership, including Steve Staios, is running the show. You're constantly in evaluation. Mm-hmm. You've taken over a company, right? So now you're trying to figure out within the company, while it's still working, who do you like? Who don't you like? What area do you need to beef up? Where do you need to put more resources into? Like this is, I think, probably it's the second step, because Pierre Dorian being let go was the first step. Here's the second step. There's still 8 more steps here. Mm-hmm. They can't do it overnight, because, Jacques Martin's going to be in there in an interim, situation. Hey, as you mentioned, he's 71 years old.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be there 6 years from now when these kids are all 26, 27, 28. So who is the next guy? Is Steve Staios going to be the manager? Are they going to beef up all these other resources where you spend money? We talk about it all the time, and I'm tongue-in-cheek when I talk about the Leafs. They've got 3 people to do every role because they just spend money outside of the cap. Well, they're going to have to do that in Ottawa to build up their organization. And the one thing that stuck with me when Michael Andlauer took over and Steve Staios is they kept saying, we want best in class. Like we want, so they're going to be trying to build up every department. This is step 2, but there's lots of work to be done here. And quite frankly, like I feel bad. We mentioned it before. DJ Smith, great guy, friend of the show. Every coach got an expiration date, including my buddy Craig Berube the other day. He's a cup-winning coach that got the gate. But in the end, the players, and I keep coming back to it, the players who get paid a lot of money, they got to own this, because they're the ones that went out there and they're not getting the job done right
Absolutely. now. And you mentioned, the Leafs and the amount of money they have, and that was on display with the Martin Jones contract. And you've been on the road here with Ottawa, so you weren't here last week, and he went into New York. The Leafs had a great win against the Rangers.
I've watched every game. Believe me,
Well, Saturday night,
been great.
He played really well, Noodles. And as you can imagine, a storyline here in Toronto is what are they going to do? Because Wall's out. Samsonov really struggled against Columbus. He struggled all year. Jones has made 2 starts. It's not a ton of sample size, but he's been in the league for like 12 years. I think he should start tomorrow night. And I think if he gets the ball rolling and stays hot, I'd just keep playing him.
Well, you mentioned it. They had a sneaky little deal Tree had as far as what was it, the bonus structure that had to be paid.
Yes.
So they got him through waivers. So now they had a 3-pack that they believed in moving forward. Right now, Carolina just signed Aaron Dell to a PTO. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the league's going through right now. There's a trend of you gotta sink or swim with who you have right now based on, I don't know. Again, I don't know what John Gibson's going to be. He took a leave, I believe. I thought I read that today.
Well, I think he's having a kid, I believe.
Okay, so
I think
that's
it's a personal
fine.
leave, yeah.
Right, but you're looking throughout the league that they're, what's Calgary going to do with their 3 goaltenders?
Mm-hmm.
You can put Dustin Wolf down, but is Vladar in play? Are they going to maybe move Markstrom at some point if they decide to start moving pieces out? But outside of that, you look through the league, the marketplace, it's thin. So you are. Like, I love the fact that I thought that was a great signing by Tree in the summer. And if you probably, had him in a candid moment, he probably didn't think he would have got Jones to the minors, because there were organizations that were in trouble in training camp and didn't grab him off waivers. And you're right. He's a veteran. The guy played 445 games in this league. And he's in the minors playing for the Marlies and had a great attitude. So
huge.
I'm happy for him. I think it's been huge for the Leafs because he provides a stability point that allows Woll to come back. And if Samsonov continues to hit the ditch, I watched that Columbus game. I couldn't believe what the hell was going on.
Some of those goals were horrendous. And the Leafs were awful. But the Goudreau fifth goal was awful. Horrendous.
I don't know how that, to this day, like I was calling a game and I had my computer to the side, was watching it, and I said, how did it even go in? It went through the center of his body, I thought. Like it was
magic
trick.
It was
the craziest goal.
Yeah.
And because he even looked back and was like, how did that go in? It was almost like he opened the door for it to go through. But it was, they almost finished the comeback. It is what it is. But like his game, he's got to get to a point where he feels comfortable and the team feels comfortable rolling him out every night. But if not, you've got a guy who's won a Stanley Cup, yes, as a backup in Martin Jones, but he's been a starter for years in San Jose, and he played 48 games for Seattle last year. So you're not really sweating at night because he can do it.
Yep, that's right. We'll get you out of here on this topic down in Pittsburgh and in Minnesota. I'm sure you've seen it where Minnie's in Pitt tonight, and
Flower.
Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury. It's possible this would, if he retires at the end of the year, this is his last game in Pittsburgh, and they're not starting him. They're going with Gustafsson instead. What do you make of that?
I saw that. I saw Michael Russo trying to put out a little bit of fires there and just say that Fleury maybe believes that he's going to play another year type of thing and all of that. I think it's lip service. That being said, you're trying to win games. You got a brand new coach in there, and Gustafsson is arguably the hottest goaltender in the league statistically in the last, we'll call it 10 days and maybe even 2 weeks. And he's been playing very well. I get it. Minnie's in one. They had to change their coach. Pittsburgh's in one. They're fighting for their lives too. So it's not. I know it's not the try-hard league. It's not the, sentimental league. I get it. It's not like Fleury's this guy who can't play. He won recently and has been really good in his last couple starts. But I would have liked to seen him play, but I get it's more the heartstring stuff. But Minnie, I think they're just trying to win. I really
agree
look at
with
it. They're
you.
just trying to get a win.
They got a new coach in there. Now, you got to be delicate in that room because you do wonder how it plays in the room, that Flower's not going to get this start.
Well, dude, that's the thing. Like, Flower gets that start in Pittsburgh, all of a sudden everyone wants to play a little bit harder. You know how it is. There's money on the board, right? Like, there's something to be said for that, too. And, like, They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. So I can understand it, right? They want to keep things going in that direction. But it's not like they're putting, I don't know, they're not putting a
it's not an e-bug. It's not e-bug.
Yeah, exactly. Al's brother.
Al's brother was accused of developing a bot system online.
Yeah, this is the newest accusation. He has a bot farm.
Okay. Once we're done the Fleury thing, I need to get to our internal group chat here because this is just explosive. I'm enjoying it, but getting back to the Fleury thing.
Yes.
You're right, Frankie. You know what? If they start Fleury, the guys will play hard. They are going. They love him in the dressing room. He's been one of the most popular players in the NHL for many, many years. But that being said, there's probably been a conversation with him, the goaltender coach, and maybe even the leadership group going, hey, we're feeling good. We're just going to roll with the same lineup. If that poses a problem, let us know. Like, that's where I think the best thing a coach can do, especially a new coach, is have that communication and say, where are we at, guys? Because I would like to go down this path. If that poses a problem, let's see where we're at. And, if Alan Walsh tweets something out tomorrow, then, now we're in one. But outside of that, I don't see it. I understand the thought process, put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, from a professional standpoint, from a winning standpoint, and Flower, he's probably involved in this as well, like pumping the tires of Gustafsson, let's go. It's purely sentimental. And they're probably thinking, listen, Pittsburgh's they're gonna have a way better response because the last time they got played, they got skunked. I mean, the Leafs just crushed them on Saturday night. We'll see what comes of it. But yeah, you're involved in the group chat here. We're Hayes and Bro. We're only 4 back now, and we are chugging at this point, and the other guys are getting really nervous.
Well, I didn't know what happened. Obviously, it go dark a little bit. I was in Vegas on the weekend, so I'm like, all right, I'll take a night off. I watched the Leaf game and then moved on.
Never know.
My voice was very strong yesterday.
It sounded great last night. It did.
I made sure. Like, I got a text from O in the morning going, "How's your voice?" And I said, "I'm fine. I took it easy on the booze. I had a late night. I was gambling, but I took it easy on the booze and no smoking. So that was half the battle." But so in looking at it, last I remember, it was like plus 10. Like, and you guys were cutting side deals and stuff. All of a sudden, I look and it's like plus 5, plus 4, and in the group chat, Luke starts getting owly, and he's chirping people, and he's chippy. So then I let it sit for a bit, and then I put out, "Why is this trending?" What did I say? Hashtag O'Win Willson meltdown or something. And O writes back right away, "That's not trending."
Oh, yeah. They're on edge, man. They are seriously on edge.
Did you hear the latest, Noodles? They've brought in Rod Smith as the director of football operations.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the hot Rod's in there because of him and our relationship. Rod's coming in here and O's trying to play some head games with us.
I know we got to go
Rod,
to break because we have Laurence, but I actually emailed Rod and he has a statement. Can I read?
Yes,
the statement?
absolutely.
Noodles, would you like me to read the statement?
I'd love to hear it.
This is from Roderick Smith. "I am deeply honored to become the new head of football operations for Team O'Win Willson. I've learned from extensive minutes of management experience that you don't mess with a winning team. I'm here to observe and hopefully help something great even better."
Okay.
Make something great even better. Hashtag fly, Eagles, fly.
Well, they are on the Eagles, and the line is moving towards Philly. It's up to minus 4.5, which
That's
is
from
fraudulent. Rod's a good man, and he's a winner, and we love
Yes.
Rod, but he's jumping on a losing ship, man. And that's shameful because I take issue with the fact that would drag Rod, who's got just an impeccable reputation in the football world, and attach him to a losing wagon that is Team O'Win Willson. But what are you going to do? It's all good. All right, Noodles.
I love it.
Enjoy the call tomorrow night. Then you guys are off, to Colorado after that? That'll be an easy trip.
I'll be on the show Wednesday, so we'll break down Tuesday's game, but I'll be on the show Wednesday in Colorado if my machine doesn't crap out. But we'll be good.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, we'll chat to you Wednesday.
All right, guys.
There he is.
Later.
Jamie Noodles McLennan on the road, some live reporting in Arizona.
Yeah.
That's hard-hitting
Boots
stuff.
on the ground.
But he's around the team all the time, right? Like, you could see it from the outside. You're like, Ottawa, something's coming. Noodles is around it. He's like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like, if you're around the game long enough, like Noodles has been, you can feel coaching changes. And it was the least surprising email. It sucks for DJ Smith, Davis Payne, but nobody's surprised Ottawa is making a coaching change. The question becomes now, can they salvage anything this year, right? It's going to be really difficult to do, especially in the East where there's a lot of parity. Their division's tough. You're tracking down Tampa and Florida and the Leafs and Boston. It's not easy. But you got like 50-plus games to play. You got a lot of time left. You can't just punt on the season, and they've chosen not to do that. All right, Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Our buddy Laurence Applebaum coming up of Golf Canada as well on Tiger, Charlie, the upcoming PGA season. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, we'll get to our Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Raptors, Charlotte tonight. Raptors a big favorite on home. Detroit, I think, is playing tonight. They're in Atlanta, and they're a big dog. It's like 11.5 points last time I checked. I don't see how you don't lay the points.
Right.
Right, like Detroit, you have to assume at some point they might win a game, but they're not just losing. They are getting crushed.
Are they not even close to, like, they're not even close?
They're not
to
even
games?
close.
Just blowouts.
Like, it's not like they're up 15 going into the fourth and then they puke it away. It's like they are down by 20 at the half.
Yeah.
It seems like every single game. It's really embarrassing.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah, so as bad as it's been at times with the Raptors, it could be Detroit Pistons bad.
Yeah.
And Portland's tanking.
That's
San
the danger, man.
Antonio
You
stinks.
go down that road, you don't get those one
Bad.
or two guys, and you never
Bad
really
scene,
turn
man.
it around.
Bad scene.
Yeah.
So Raptors, Hornets tonight, and we got a SGP for that game. We'll get to a little bit later in the hour. But I had someone mention, the Golf Canada app to me late last week, which I'm on all the time throughout the summer. And I haven't been on it in like a month and a half because I haven't played. And then I noticed people are posting all their kind of stats for the season, how many rounds.
like Spotify, right? Like
Yes,
everyone
exactly.
posts their music on Spotify that they listen to over the year.
Exactly. So I was going through my season, and I'm like, you know what? It was okay, but it should have been better. I think my best round was like a 79, which is okay. I'll
Pretty
take
good.
that. Not bad. But luckily for me, I did not see my worst round,
Yeah.
which would be pretty depressing.
I think that's by design.
I think it should.
And I think I know who makes sure that's the case.
Yes. I think it's a guy that has to be all over these type of things.
Yeah.
Running the app, the business, the Canadian Open back in Hamilton in 2024. Rory McIlroy's coming back, which is going to be amazing. Here's our good buddy, the CEO of Golf Canada, Laurence Applebaum. Can you make sure I never have to discuss my worst round on this show, Laurence? That's a priority for you, I hope.
No, they asked me today. They go, who gets the banner? Who's My Golf Year gets the banner on the website? And I said, Bryan, he's gonna probably be happy that we'll put Frankie Corrado. Frankie played more than 300,000 yards of golf this year. Wow. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I can't conceptualize what that is, really. I know I played 51 rounds, but yeah.
That's a lot of golf, and he crushes the ball. You played with Frankie, Laurence. You know how this guy just bombs it off the tee.
Yeah, I think it was the O-Dog who coined him Frankie DeChambeau.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was that stuck or not, Frankie, but we put out My Golf Year. It's the second year that we've done My Golf Year by our friends at BDO, and it is probably the most anticipated outreach that we make. Everyone, your total rounds, the number of holes, how many yards you played, your best round. We will not add the worst round. But maybe my favorite part of it is that James Duthie might call weekly and make sure that everyone's got the data right at the Golf Canada headquarters.
Yes. Duthie is a man of integrity when it comes to that. He's a stickler. JD was playing multiple times last week, Laurence. I'm sure you saw that online. He was out at Copetown Woods out near Hamilton. He played Friday and then doubled back, I've heard, solo on Saturday, playing in mid-December. I can't imagine you see that type of activity much on the app.
Well, these are we talked about this. These are the toughest weeks. You don't get your normal golf in. You maybe haven't gone south yet, so you haven't had a chance to play. But no, James played a lot out at our friend Barry Forth club in Copetown Woods. And for Copetown, to James to play alone and have his best round, there's a question mark, like an underlined, double bolded question mark. Best round by yourself.
As there should be.
Yeah. So LA, you obviously get all the data from all the rounds played, and golf really boomed here since the pandemic. Are we still seeing that kind of boom with golf here in Canada and Ontario, where people are getting out more than ever?
Yeah, I think it was. We look back at 2023 as probably it was our momentous year of golf. We crossed the threshold of 10 million rounds played by Canadians from coast to coast.
Wow.
And I think it's we're on a rocket ship coming out of the pandemic, of course, but people have stayed with it. Golf courses are full. People are playing lots of golf, and it's made the game have this boom that we haven't seen since our friend Tiger Woods sort of came on the scene. And that sort of level of intensity has really transferred over to competitive play. Our amateur championships are full, and of course, we had more fans than ever that came out to the RBC Canadian Open, and we're returning to Hamilton in 2024, headlined by Rory, headlined by our friend Nick Taylor coming back to defend. So it's going to be we hope another really exciting year of golf.
With Laurence Applebaum of Golf Canada, you mentioned Nick Taylor. He's now like the logo, right? He's basically the logo now, where you guys, you made an adjustment on the RBC Canadian Open logo. I love it. It got a ton of traction online. Can you take us through how that came about with the putter toss by Nick last year? Yeah,
I think not often do we do something graphically that gets the kind of exposure notoriety, but we have a young, great creative guy in our marketing team who came up with this idea, and he'd been playing around with it. It actually was from a pumpkin carving for the Ancaster Halloween Festival. And it looked amazing. we put a little bit of activity, some digital touches to it, and the morphing of Nick, and with the sound, making the putt, tracking it. He sort of holsters the putt, and then the flip has become an iconic look, and it'll be the logo for 2024. And Nick told us, he said the last two events he played in that Grant Thornton event, that PGA Tour, LPGA Tour event, and he said that everyone's coming up to him, calling him the logo, the icon.
Yes.
And he's just such a fantastic guy. And Bryan, you and I had a chance to partner with him for the Pro-Am, I think 2 years ago.
Yep.
And he's just such a good dude, and all the Canadians on both the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour, they're such good people. They're such contributors to the game. And Nick, we didn't know back then, Bryan, that Nick was going to become the guy who broke the 67-year drought for a male player winning the RBC Canadian Open.
So, Laurence, 2 years in a row now at the Canadian Open, there's been significant news in the golf world revolving around live golf. This year it was the morphing, I guess, of the two. But after both weekends, all anyone is talking about in the golf world is what a great tournament the Canadian Open was and the storylines behind that. What do you guys have planned for year 3? Are you anticipating any kind of bombshell news that you're going to need to overshadow for the third year in a row?
Well, it's kind of like we kind of look at each other and we go, okay, this is kind of old hat for us. You said it, Frankie. Like every year, there's something interesting that comes our week, and our team, we've sort of said, we're going to have the eyes of the world no matter what we do. And the beauty of that was last year we had our greatest tournament in history at Oakdale Golf and Country Club with Nick Taylor's win. And it wasn't a quiet week. And then the year before at St. George's, when the first live event went on, and we had Rory, defending his 3-year championship. And so we know we're going to have one of the greatest players ever to come back to Hamilton, and Rory McIlroy, and to see him hit the ball live is still one of the great spectacles in all of sport. We know we're having a bunch of our great Canadians who the fans come out in droves to see. Hamilton is an awesome track. They had an amazing renovation. They were actually named Renovation of the Year in North America. And everything's contained at the Hamilton Golf and Country Club. It'll be the golf course and the food and the fun and the concert and everything that we're doing together with our partners at RBC. 2024, we already know there's more scaffolding built before Christmas than ever before. We know it's going to be a record for us. And so I think to see that track, to see the PGA Tour players, I think it's going to just be, we're just going to keep running the greatest national championship, the RBC Canadian Open, and everyone will do what they do.
We're chatting with Laurence Applebaum, the CEO of Golf Canada. And I'm looking it up now. I'm pretty sure you can get in on the RBC Canadian Open with a VIP experience right now if you bid online, golfcanadaauction.ca. Proceeds for First Tee. We love it. And among other things, LA, that are also up for grabs. How's the auction going these days?
It's great. Thank you for mentioning it, Bryan. That we've done a Golf Canada holiday auction with so many of our friends. We've put together these experiences that you cannot buy, you cannot get. And I'm going to highlight there's some great golf experiences, rounds of golf with people like yourself, with Kara and Lindsay, with James, with even with our friends at Golf Talk Canada. And then there's one guy donated, a former NHL defenseman, right shot, right side. He has donated an hour of his time for any hockey team, mostly probably a minor league hockey team, of course, to have Frankie come out and run his practice for you. And that's just one of the experiences. And I would encourage everyone to go on to the First Tee Canada website and check out all these things, because they really are some of the things that you really can't buy, and a great gift for people who are tough to buy for.
I love it. Frankie, you're going to, is this like a bag skate?
No.
What kind of operation are we talking about?
Well, we got to see what kind of team we got, but we're going to do some stuff that they do in the NHL that we can do with minor hockey. Small area games, all kinds of stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Alumni jacket?
Oh, maybe.
I think you got to wear the
jacket.
alumni to get in on that.
Maybe I go full equipment just to get the full experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, you can find that, again, golfcanadaauction.ca. Frankie running your whole operation out of practice. Karen Lindsay, I think that's going up at TPC, right? Osprey Valley up at TPC, I believe. And as for my option, you can bid on playing around with me up at my course. Up at Coppenwood, Sleeman's throwing in some stuff there too, right, LA? It's going to be fun, man. There's a lot of people bidding. See if we can get this as high as we can.
Well, I don't want to pump your tires too much here, but it's on a rocket ship. Your foursome, Bryan. It's a chance to see you at your home track at Coppenwood, and our good friends there, and of course our pals at Sleeman have put your own customized Sleeman fridge full of some of their best products. And we're going to have some fun with it that day, I'm sure. But I really appreciate, everyone leaning in, all our friends at TSN who've given their time and donated to a really great cause. And so we're thrilled to raise some money for First Tee. We're thrilled to have you guys love your golf so much. Mm-hmm. And I do need to point out that James did play over almost 600,000 yards of golf, and they're still going. They're still going.
Yeah, he's still got time. Believe me, if it's sunny and like 2 or 3 degrees, Duthie will play.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count him out. I think Duthie might have 2 or 3 more rounds in him, and believe me, they'll be pumped into the Golf Canada app. You can bank on it. Laurence, always great catching up with you, buddy. We'll do it again soon. Thank you for this.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you both.
There he is, Laurence Applebaum, the CEO of Golf Canada.
There needs to be something in your fine print with your round at Coppenwood where I understand people are going to bid and they're going to spend their hard-earned money, but they can't be calling you a fraud that day.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't do 4 hours of people calling you a
fraudulent.
Fraud.
Yeah, it's just, listen, we'll go out, we'll have a good time. Again, there's a lot of different opportunities out here. TSN First Up experience. You can hang out with Coco and Korolnik in the morning. You got JD in the panel for a game night.
That's a cool one because they they'll do insider trading, they'll do an SC hit, they do the 30-minute pregame show, and then the whole game. That's
pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and they got they got couches there. You get to hang out with the crew.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Check it out. Do your thing. Yeah. Tee it, practice, hang out, in studio. There's a lot of different options.
Simulator.
Hit the sim if need be. Absolutely. All right, we'll come back with our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. The Monday Nighter, it sounds as if Jalen Hurts is, in fact, going to play. Doesn't sound good for Geno Smith, and the Raptors are in action tonight as well. We'll come back and tee those up. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Looking at the Raptors game tonight, it's tough to put together parlays for the football game because we didn't know who was playing. Turns out Geno Smith is going to play tonight.
Luke's not going to be happy.
Luke is snapping already, making excuses already. They're on the Eagles. What did we lock that in at, Doogie? 3.5? I think it was 3.5.
It was 4.
Was it 4?
We
Eagles
locked it at -4.
Wow. So the spread's already moving back towards Seattle. Yeah. And O'Win Willson has locked that in at 4 points, which means Eagles by a field goal tonight would be hysterical. Anyway, that's not what we're playing here. I got Pascal Siakam over 23.5 points tonight. Dennis Schroeder to record 6+ assists. And I like the Raptors in the first quarter. They've been awful to start this year. I know what you're thinking. They've been horrible in the first quarter. It has to change, and it's got to change against Charlotte. They will have the lead after the first quarter. Siakam over the points, Schroeder 6+ assists. Raptors first quarter winners. Parlay that, paying +221.
Yeah.
Best bets are powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays this NFL season now include passing touchdowns and receptions on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. Obviously, now you know who's starting. Go over and play a parlay on the football game tonight.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's going to be like a greasy game.
I think the under's the play.
Ugly game. Yeah. Ugly football.
Yeah, I could see this being, 21-17, 24-20.
Right.
24-21.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think It's a tough travel for the Eagles. Hurts is playing, but he hasn't been playing well. He hasn't been feeling well. Hasn't been playing that well either. And Seattle's coming off a couple of losses. They got to get one here. They got to stay in the hunt. Like, it's a big game for Seattle tonight.
Yeah. Ugly football.
Yeah. Close game?
Yes, close game.
Okay.
I got to watch it with Luke, so.
Oh, good luck with that.
Because we're both doing Jay's show tonight, and we watch it we watch our games in the same boardroom. There's like 7 or 8 TVs.
Yeah.
So I'll be like privy to what's happening in real time.
He'll be unbearable tonight. If Seattle rolls, he will be
for you. Like I would prefer if Seattle rolls because I don't want to have to deal with the negativity.
Right.
You know?
I'm looking forward to it, man. Listen, Hazenbro, all we can do is control what we can control. Right? Mike Babcock used to say, if you do it right every day.
Right. And he also used to say, every time he's 6'4", every time I look at him.
Yep. So, and he's a man, right? He's got kids to feed.
Yeah, he's got kids. Yeah. And,
I have kids. I have kids I have to feed.
He comes from a good family.
Yeah.
So, because if you don't, then,
that's right. There's all these different cliches.
This is the stupidest thing,
that
right?
somehow add up to Hazenbro being victorious.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
All the cliches.
All right. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out today. We appreciate it. Frankie, good seeing you, buddy.
Yeah, you too.
We'll catch you a lot, I believe, later in the week.
Yeah, I'll be back Wednesday.
You know who's in here tomorrow? Andy Petrillo. Jonas Siegel in here tomorrow. Our boy Jonas will be in here. We look forward to that. Leafs Rangers tomorrow night. We'll tee that up. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.